everyone. So I made it to the end of week 8 of The Artist Way. And just as a recap of anybody that's new or doesn't know what I'm doing with these projects, um, I've approached The Artist Way from Monday to Friday instead of 7 days a week so I don't get burned out. And I have some flexibility when I can do a tasks at the end of the chapter if I'm able to do so. But I try to aim for at least 4 tasks each week, including the exercises. So there we go. This week was a little bit surprising in terms of the emotional portion of it. I got very emotional in terms of my grandmother's passing, who passed away a year ago. Over time, of course, the grief has softened, but there are moments where something can trigger it, can trigger the grief burst and the heartache and the longing of, your loved one. And I was just a mess yesterday, and I appreciated my boyfriend. You know, he was, with me like on Skype, and he was very quiet, but he was present. He didn't have to say anything to comfort me. Just knowing that he cared was more than enough because grief is difficult. It's going to be difficult for everybody, and how we navigate it's going to be very different for each person. I think this is just very important that we understand, and as we understand how we navigate grief, our needs are going to be different. But for me, I wanted to keep my expectations as reasonable as possible and just appreciate what support my boyfriend could have provided in that moment. And him just being quiet and making sure that I'm okay before we ended a Skype call was important to me because he always does that whenever I'm emotionally crying like that. He would, wait till I was calm enough, and then we would end the Skype call for the evening or what have you. But just having that support was very helpful, and no words had to be spoken. So if he's watching this, thank you. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your help yesterday. Um, so, this week focused on recovering a sense of strength and resilience, and it was very true in terms of what happened in my own life recently, and like within a month. I recovered from a very small mistake, but it was a mistake nonetheless. And it just showed me that we're safe in making mistakes and we're safe to recover from them. And we don't need to beat ourselves over it too much, right? Um, that recovery is possible. It was such a great reminder of that recovery is possible. I also realized that when doing the exercises, I wanted to revisit a couple of childhood games, for example, such as Clue, such as the game of life. And how I've done that is through the use of the Nintendo Switch. So I think it's been very lovely just to kind of reconnect with those childhood loves and those games, those classic board games. And I found out more about my mom that she used to play them. She loved Clue. Clue is a very nice game, and you have to figure out who done it. Um, and there was nothing better than sitting in my apartment when it's nighttime and the lights are off, and it's kind of like that spooky feel, and you're trying to figure out who killed who in the game. And it turned out while I won my first game, I was also in another game where my character turned out to be the murderer. So that was pretty interesting. It's a really fun game, and I recommend it for anybody that wants to play with the AI or with a group of friends. I told my boyfriend jokingly that when he comes back for a visit, he and I are going to be playing Clue or Cluedo, depending on if you're in the UK. That's how it's referred to as in that area. Um, but over here, it's referred to as Clue, the classic mystery board game. So that was fun. But yeah, this week was all about resilience. I do feel stronger. I do feel like the baby steps that I've been taking toward changing my life and improving my life have been very helpful. One of the tasks was about goal searching. And while I am familiar with that and laying out a plan, I think there was something different with how Julia leads lays it out on the page, and it was more thoughtful. It was more detailed, and I want to do that task again for other goals in my life, and because it really pinpoints what you really want instead of making a goal that you're not as passionate about. Because if you're making a goal that you're not as passionate about, it may not work out. Like, you won't have enough energy towards it. um, but when you're making goals that you're passionate about, you're going to see things unfold in a very, very quick way. And one of the things that I realized is that when we get the ball rolling on a few things, we get scared. And that's when our inner, well, at least for me, the inner critic in my heart would be like, oh, I have to uh, not do this, or I have to change my mind. And earlier this week, I made a video about creative U turns. And those are what those are, the creative U turns that we're finding success, but then we backtrack and we're kind of like, and we don't follow through with what we really want. But I say embrace those moments, because U turns aren't just the self sabotaging version that Julia Cameron has started to talk about. It's also where you look at your life and you're saying, you're looking at it, and you're like, oh man, it hasn't been a straight line. It has not been a straight line. And the good example for me is, like, creating videos. I did that a lot in my second year of college because I had a video and audio class for my journalism program. And we had to interview people and create what's called, streeter videos, which is you interview people on the spot about a topic that's going on in the community. And I was the girl that put the videos together. And it's been 10 years since I've done, videos and video creation. So it's no surprise that it came back full circle. I still have to relearn some things. But when I look at the video editing software, for example, that I just discovered on my computer after 3 years of having this laptop, it's very familiar to me. It's not 100% brand new, but it's like, okay, I can relearn this over time, and it's just baby steps to relearning everything. It's just like learning how to walk or riding a bike. There's that sense of familiarity in that, which I really appreciated. So you guys might see some things that I'm trying out with my videos. Those things may not stay. It's just experimentation, and I'm not worried about perfection at this point. I'm letting all that go and just doing what brings me joy and what I find will be helpful for people that are watching my videos. And that was a result of doing the artist way. There's a lot of inner work that is done with this. This is why people can be burned out from the program, or have to stop, or take a break, or get off course. There's a lot of internal work that we're not prepared to do, but if we stick with it, the benefits are there. I may not agree with a lot of what Julia Cameron says in the book, or there might be exercises that I may not resonate with, that I may just skip, but it doesn't mean that this lady isn't full of wisdom. She is. She is full of wisdom. And what's beautiful about this world is that we're all on our journey. We all have our path, and we're all going to take many turns and twists, and it's almost like a dungeon almost, right? But we can get there. We can get what we want. And I appreciate you all just listening to me talk. And thank you for joining me this week if you have. And if you just find me, hi, and I'm glad to have you. So thank you, everybody. I will see you next week, or who knows, if I get the video you know, recording bug again, I might just record another project earlier than expected. So stay tuned, take care, have a lovely weekend. Bye bye.